I'm Bryan Llenas for FoxNews.com. It's been over a year since the people of Flint, Michigan learned their water was tainted with lead and poisoning their kids. But residents today are still struggling to get enough safe drinking water. While many of us took easily accessible drinking water for granted on Thanksgiving to cook and to clean with, one Flint resident wrote this on Facebook, quote, "In case anyone was curious, it took 6 cases, 144 bottles of water to make dinner. And that apparently is not an uncommon situation." Joining me now from Flint, Arthur Woodson, a community activist and a veteran. He's been on the front lines of this fight since it began in Flint, Michigan. Mr. Woodson, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, sir.
144 bottles. That's a lot. How many cases of water a day does a household usually go through?
On an average of 10 cases, because you have to bathe with it, you have to cook with it, you have to brush your teeth with it. I mean, everything you do literally with water, you have to use. So it's houses filled up with nothing but cases of water.
How is the situation in your assessment right now with the handling of the Flint water? What is your update to everybody on how the situation on the ground is right now?
It just now started moving. It's the same. I mean, you know, they try to tell you that everything's okay, but it's not. You know, you had presidential election where the mayor had backed Ms. Clinton, and we couldn't get anybody to move because it had turned into a political football by the mayor siding with Ms. Clinton, so Secretary Clinton. So it was just at a standstill. Wasn't anybody moving. So now that the election is over, you see a lot of movement going on now.
I'm hearing also that it's still taking a particular toll on senior citizens, the water crisis there. Can you explain how that's affecting that community specifically?
The seniors, you know, they live on the 3rd, 4th floor. You have to drive at least a mile to one of the water pods. Some of the seniors doesn't have any transportation. Then, you know, how can a senior haul 2 cases of water up a flight of stairs, 3, 4 flight of stairs in a senior citizen home? And then you have what they call 211, where the senior can call. Now, I just told you that it takes 10 cases of water just to make it through the day. You call this 211, they only bring you 2 cases for a whole week.
Right. And now there is a fight right now in the state to make sure that the state can deliver this water to people's doorsteps, as opposed to having people to go to these really distribution centers. There's a fight now in court to make this happen, to deliver the water to people's doorsteps to help vulnerable communities like senior citizens. You know, at a news conference, Mr. Woodson, this morning, Virginia Tech professor Mark Edwards says his team found a dramatic drop in lead levels, with 6% of homes above 15 parts per billion, which is down from the 9.7% in July. And we should note this team took voluntary samples and did not always target high-risk homes, but this seems like a step in the right direction. Are you actually feeling and seeing differences within your community?
No. I mean, you have to understand, even the lead copper rule that Mr. Edwards fights for even states that it's supposed to go to the worst case scenario home. That's how it's supposed to be. And then you have to ask yourself, the citizens of Flint does not trust the water. I mean, if you put poison in a glass and then you just pour the poison out and put water over in that glass and tell someone to drink it, do you think they're going to drink it? I mean, you know, that's what went on here. You have poison in the water, and every time they change the service line, you breaking up whatever the biofilm or the coating inside these pipes, and it's going down to the next house. So really, it's no better than what it was before, because you have people that's psychologically damaged here in the city of Flint that does not want to trust anything about these pipes.
Right. The bottom line is that the government is saying everybody has a water filter. The water is safe enough to drink with a water filter. It's still not safe enough to drink out of tap without that water filter that has been given, what they say, to about 96% of the residents there. And you have the bottled water situation, but you're getting to the heart of the matter, which is the pipes. People just don't trust the water, and rightly so, given the situation, the crisis that Flint's people has gone through. And, you know, the professor pointed toward replacing Flint's water infrastructure as its solution. And since corrosion control chemicals in the water can only fix the system so far, so Are the pipes being replaced is the big thing. I mean, that's ultimately what you are demanding, and are you starting to see that?
You know what? It's at a snail pace. The money was here back in February to start changing the pipes. They didn't start changing the pipes until August. You only have like 499 pipes changed right now out of 29,000 pipes that needs to be changed. So everything is at a snail pace, and it's a bunch of things going on behind the scene. Right now, back in January, they had kids tested through WIC, and this was back in January of this year. And a 3-year-old got tested, and her lead count came back 10.15. So they were supposed to do a follow-up and go out and check the house and do an intravenous blood check. Well, I saw the 3-year-old, and I mean, you really have to see how these kids look, honestly, and it would melt your heart. Well, they never did a follow-up with her. So I called the people, and this is how everything is going. There's no communication here. There's 15 different things going on at one time, and no one is working together.
All right. Well, hopefully, Mr. Woodson, with your continued activism and getting the voice out there, that people can start to continue to work together to solve this crisis, which is not something that's obviously going to be solved by the end of this year, and but hopefully sooner rather than later. Just incredible situation that's been happening there the last year. And thank you so much for all the work you've done, and thank you for your service, Mr. Woodson.
Thank you, sir.
All right. And thanks so much for everybody for joining us. I'm Bryan Llenas for FoxNews.com, and stick with us for continuing coverage of the Flint water crisis.